Today on the November 4th edition of the Muskie Daily, we'll be looking into the food provider for the College Drive Presbyterian Church Food Pantry.
We'll also see how a Muskingum University student got the idea and formed a recycling program at the university.
And lastly, we'll be interviewing with one of the newly elected officials for the Tri-Valley School Board. Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the Muskie Daily. I'm John Webb.
And I'm Ashley Glazer. Topping our news today, Connor Han, Recycling Committee Chair, came up with an idea in the fall of 2014 to get a recycling committee on campus. After this committee was formed, he helped add additions to the program. One of the additions was that Han spoke at a Hot Topic event for freshmen to get the idea out there to create a lasting impression. The cardboard boxes are being replaced with bins in each lobby and in Kelly Coffee House. Han said that the next step is to get small bins in each computer lab. Han also said that there will be a competition between the residence halls to see who can recycle the most, and there will be a monetary prize for the organizations on campus.
The people in their fundamentals of speech class, I've heard a lot of in persuasive speeches, people tend to do that there needs to be more recycling on campus. So hearing that and just hearing people want it more on campus or have it more available really drove me to make this something that we need to push for. Because Student Senate's about change, good change, but change that the community wants.
Ohio Senate Bill 214 to defund Planned Parenthood was passed by the state Senate in Columbus on Wednesday, October 21st. However, the decision was made with less testimony than required. According to Muskingum University Wellness Center Director Susan Fracker, the committee, which was made up of mostly men, had voted on the bill after only 2 hearings instead of the usual 3. Although Planned Parenthood is typically associated with abortion, it also offers services such as diabetes screenings, flu shots, tetanus vaccines, and various other health care options.
The new head men's basketball coach, Travis Schwab, is ready to get his first season at Muskingum underway. Schwab comes to the Muskies to take over for the retired Gene Ford after gaining invaluable experience elsewhere.
I spent the last 8 years as the associate head men's basketball coach at Wittenberg University and learned a heck of a lot and learned what it takes to build a really successful program, and we've incorporated.
Schwab and the Muskies have been hard at work preparing for the season, with practices starting on October 26th. The men will open the 2015 campaign on November 14th when they host Waynesburg.
This past week, Muskingum University hosted their annual fall Greek recruitment for students who were interested in joining Greek life. Muskingum University has 6 fraternities and 5 sororities that students can choose to become a part of. Stacy Allen, Director of Greek Affairs, says that becoming involved in Greek life gives students an even smaller, more intimate community to connect with here at Muskingum, and has helped many students break out of their shells to become more involved in campus life and the Muskingum community. Recruitment week concluded on Saturday with Bid Day, where students were formally welcomed into their new fraternities and sororities. Students celebrated with a lunch in John Glenn Gym and a bonfire later in the evening.
The College Drive Presbyterian Church in New Concord has been providing the community with the food pantry for over 10 years. The food pantry is currently serving 170 families with support from volunteers. The pantry has teamed up with a local food bank called Mid-Ohio Food Bank. The College Drive Presbyterian Church Food Pantry purchases groceries from the Mid-Ohio Food Bank by the pound. In Muskingum County alone, the food bank works
just them by the pound, basically, and it's pennies per pound. So we will use those funds to shop for food, to provide stuff for us to hand out on Wednesday nights.
In Muskingum County alone, the food bank works with 16 different agencies such as soup kitchens, shelters, after-school programs, and the USDA. The food pantry uses donations and event funds to go towards purchasing groceries to give out. That's it for our local news. We'll be taking a break and be back with your state and national news.
We'll be looking into the Metrojet airplane suspension through the UK and Sharm el-Sheikh.
We have the music. We have the cameras. We have the talent. Orbit Media, where the magic happens.
On the story. On the quad. On the scene. This is the Muskie Daily.
In a live interview with CNN's Christiane Amanpour, Egyptian Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry called the UK's decision to suspend all flights between the UK and Sharm el-Sheikh somewhat premature, as the investigation is not complete. He said he is somewhat surprised because the Prime Minister spoke by phone yesterday.
A 6-year-old suspended at recess. His parents say he was shooting an imaginary bow and arrow. The school didn't comment on the punishment. TJ Parker reports.
Keep your attention here for the Muskie Daily. After our short break, Ashley will give you the weather forecast for New Concord and the surrounding areas.
I'll also give you an update on the OAC tournament action.
This is Will Mullins, and I want to encourage you to watch Chapel on Orbit TV Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. Thanks.
Find out what decisions are being made at Student Senate that could affect your campus organization by tuning into Orbit TV on Tuesdays at 11 in the evening, and again on Wednesday through Sunday at 10 in the morning and 6 and 11 in the evening. We have the music. We have the cameras. We have the talent. Orbit Media, where the magic happens.
On the story. On the quad. On the scene. This is the Muskie Daily.
Let's take a look at the weather forecast. Tonight will be mostly cloudy with a low of 54. Tomorrow looks to be partly sunny in the morning, then becoming mostly cloudy with a high of 75. Tomorrow night will be cloudy with a 40% chance of rain and a low of 60. Let's take a look at the extended forecast. Then when we come back, take a look at our Muskie Sports News. The Muskie volleyball season ended Tuesday with a straight set loss to John Carroll in the first round of the OAC tournament in the Rec Center. The Muskies end their 2015 season with a 21-11 mark, while going 6-3 in the OAC. Despite the Muskie loss, the OAC tournament still continues with 2 semifinal matchups coming on Thursday night. Fifth seed John Carroll goes on the road to face 1 seed Heidelberg in Tiffin, while the 6th-seeded Otterbein Cardinals, fresh off their stunning straight set upset of the 3rd seed Baldwin Wallace, goes to Ada for looking for another upset of the 2 seed Ohio Northern. Each game is slated for a 7 o'clock start, with the sports in the championship match on the line. Muskie football gets back in action this Saturday as they go on the road for the annual Shriners game against arch rival Marietta. Cody Williams is projected to return from his injury this week as he'll try to lead the Muskies to their first win of the season. The Muskies are also a perfect 6-0 in the Shriner Series. That's all for your Muskie sports updates. We'll now take a short break and be back to interview Jason Schaumoffel on his new position in the Tri-Valley School Board.
We have the music. We have the cameras. We have the talent. Orbit Media, where the magic happens.
On the story. On the quad. On the scene. This is the Muskie Daily.
We have the music. We have the cameras. We have the talent. Orbit Media, where the magic happens.
On the story. On the quad. On the scene. This is the Muskie Daily.
One Muskingum student is making waves after last night's elections. We're here with Jason Schaumoffel, a Muskingum sophomore who just has been elected to a board position with the Tri-Valley Local School Board of Education. At just 20 years old, Jason is the youngest person elected to a position in the history of Muskingum County. Jason, thank you so much for joining us today, and congratulations.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Anytime. So a career in politics, that's not really your usual career choice, for especially at 20 years old. How did you become interested in politics? What sort of led you to choose this as a career?
Well, about 3 years ago, I went to a county commissioner meeting, and County Commissioner Jim Porter started asking me questions and got me engaged, and I just developed a love for politics. And Terry Hutchinson stepped down, and there was a seat open, and I decided to run.
You kind of took the opportunity and ran with it.
I did, yeah.
How did you find out that you had won the election? What was your reaction to that?
It's actually a funny story. I got a text message from Christine Holmes, who works in Orbit Media, and she says, "Congratulations, you won." And at first I didn't believe it. I ran into the living room and said, "Mom, Dad, I think I won." And we went and refreshed the computer, and sure enough, it said I had won.
All right. So coming into this position, what advantages do you think that your age can bring to this new job of yours, and what challenges might it also bring?
Well, on advantages, one of the big things, you talk to voters and they say, "Oh, you're too young," but then you tell them your experience and my projected age gap, that I'm going to help with people, and that really changes them. So the things like technological innovation, the things that I've experienced in the classroom, being a student who's just got out of the classroom, that's a great advantage to have. I think the disadvantage is that I am not a career politician. This is my first time into it, my first election, and so there's going to be a learning curve. But I'm really excited to jump into it and learn as much as I possibly can and make Tri-Valley the best I can.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jason, for joining us, and congrats again on your election.
Well, thank you.
So hopefully we will see some great things from you and in your position.
All right.
That's all the time we have for now. You can keep up to date on all the happenings around New Concord by visiting orbitmediaonline.com and following us on Twitter at Orbit907 News. Have a great evening, New Concord.